from the Middle East. Israel says 100 UN and international aid trucks have entered Gaza via the Kerem Shalom Crossing point, according to Kojat, the Defense Ministry unit overseeing Palestinian civil affairs. All aid was inspected before entry. This comes as Netanyahu says it was necessary to avoid a humanitarian crisis in order to preserve Israel's freedom of operational action in Gaza. He also stated that all of the Gaza Strip will be under the Israeli army's control by the end of its ongoing intensified offensive in the Palestinian territory. Moreover, the Israeli Prime Minister said that he was ready for a temporary ceasefire to secure the return of hostages held in Gaza, adding 20 of them were certainly alive and up to 38 of them are deceased. Meanwhile, US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has voiced guarded optimism for a solution to end the Gaza war. According to reports, at least 93 people have been killed in Israeli attacks across the Gaza Strip since dawn on May the 21st. On the other hand, the Israeli military has reported that it had intercepted a missile fired from the Gaza Strip. No reports of injuries or damage have been reported so far. In a related development, more than a dozen countries have condemned Israel after its forces fired near a convoy of foreign diplomats visiting the Jenin refugee camp in the occupied West Bank. The diplomats, who included officials from the EU, UK, China, Russia and several other nations, were part of a coordinated visit to assess the humanitarian situation in the area. Israel said troops were fired warning shots after the group deviated from a pre-agreed route, though diplomats dispute this, saying no clear warning was issued. While no one was hurt, global reaction has been swift. European powers, including France, Germany and the United Kingdom, have summoned Israeli ambassadors and demanded explanations. Canada called the incident totally unacceptable, and countries like Ireland, Turkey and Egypt accuse Israel of violating diplomatic norms and international law. Many cited the Vienna Convention, which guarantees the safety of diplomatic personnel. Norway, Portugal and Mexico emphasised that firing near clearly marked diplomatic convoys is a grave breach of that treaty. The Palestinian Authority called the act a heinous crime and said the diplomats were there to witness the aftermath of Israeli military operations in Jenin. Since January, Israeli forces have been conducting a major crackdown in the West Bank, which the UN says has displaced tens of thousands of people and left over 100 Palestinians dead. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that Israel's military has crushed refugee camps in the occupied West Bank. On the other hand, the Israeli military expressed regret for the inconvenience, but the fallout continues to escalate. Leaders around the world are now calling for a thorough investigation and accountability, warning that any harm to diplomats undermines international order. We now move over to the United States, where in a tense White House meeting, US President Donald Trump confronted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa with discredited claims of a so-called white genocide. Trump played a video alleging White House farmers are being killed and forced to flee South Africa. Ramaphosa firmly denied these accusations, stating South Africa does not support land seizures from white farmers and the government condemns violence of any kind. Trump, undeterred, said he wanted an explanation of the farmer situation, but Ramaphosa stood firm, pointing to democracy and diverse voices in South Africa, while urging Trump to listen to facts and not fiction. Despite the surprise ambush, Ramaphosa called the meeting very good and used the opportunity to push for a reset in US-South Africa relations.